Hello, everyone. What if contracts and other legal agreements could be monitored, executed, and enforced without any people being involved? Imagine a world where a string of computer code recognizes that the terms of a contract or an insurance policy have been met, and it automatically transfers assets at the agreed time and then registers those transfers. This is the world of smart contracts. Smart contracts are contracts that convert the terms of a traditional agreement into computer code and automatically executes the contract when predefined triggers are met. The code and the agreement exist only on a distributed, decentralized blockchain network. Smart contracts allow transactions and agreements to be made without any middlemen, such as banks, governments, or a legal system. They make transactions traceable, transparent, and irreversible. Think of it like a vending machine. When you put money in a vending machine, it triggers an automatic outcome. It gives you a soda. With smart contracts, you simply drop your money into a shared ledger, and your escrow, driver's license, or copyrighted material drops into your account. Smart contracts use if-then rules to automatically execute a contract. We are likely to see the greatest use of smart contracts in situations where there are repeated transactions, where negotiated agreements are not the norm, such as the sale of a car. Once they have agreed on a price, people could use a standardized smart contract to input the price and the vehicle's registration details. The smart contract would then execute the agreement, verify that the seller is the true owner of the car, transfer the cash, and re-register the vehicle in the name of its new owner. The same technology could be used for the sale of stocks, bonds, and other financial products. Since each party to the transaction relies on the identical blockchain ledger and not on their own potentially inconsistent centralized databases, blockchains and smart contracts working together are a powerful tool for turning routine tasks into highly efficient, cost-effective, and trustworthy processes. Many businesses, governments, and other groups are already identifying areas where smart contracts and blockchain technology can improve efficiencies, increase trust, and reduce costs. For example, in Brooklyn, New York, several neighborhoods are participating in the Brooklyn Microgrid, a project that uses smart contracts to automatically buy and sell energy produced by solar panels that are installed on local roofs. These contracts run automatic auctions and sell small amounts of electricity to users who will pay the most for energy at a particular time. The technology permits 24/7 automatically recorded and trustworthy trading with no middlemen or intermediaries. In California, the Share and Charge platform connects electric vehicle owners to public and private charging stations. Smart contracts automatically charge users of the stations and allow the station owners to set lower prices for their friends and family. Share and Charge was originally developed and successfully used in Germany. Ultimately, the company hopes to expand the technology to easily share or rent energy, parking spots, and electric cars. Recently, 19 multinational banks, including Credit Suisse, Barclays, Danske Bank, and Wells Fargo, participated in a proof-of-concept demonstration of a new blockchain-based syndicated loan servicing program called Snaps Loan. The program will work by including every party to a particular loan trade on a shared smart contract that automatically interacts and permits users, for example, to verify ownership of the loan without having to formally ask any agent at the bank. The demonstration showed how trades that usually take over a week can be settled in less time using the program, with the added bonus of lower costs and higher transparency. The law is quickly catching up with this technology. In the spring of 2017, Arizona became one of the first states in America to enact a law explicitly granting smart contracts the same legal effect, validity, and enforceability as traditional contracts. In 2016, Delaware started the Delaware Blockchain Initiative, which is probably the most well-known state program focusing on smart contracts and blockchain technology. Delaware's then-governor, Jack Markell, launched DBI to jumpstart recognition of blockchain technology under state corporate law. This is especially significant considering that many companies are incorporated in Delaware. Vermont passed a law which made blockchain-registered digital records admissible in court. More recently, Arizona passed the Smart Contract Bill. Arizona's new statute does more than recognize the legality of smart contracts. It also brings any signature, record, or contract that is secured through blockchain technology under the state's Electronic Transactions Act. Bills involving blockchain technology are making their way through the state houses in Nevada, Hawaii, New Hampshire, and Illinois. A word of caution, however. It is important to remember that while computer code appears certain, after all, it's a preordained manipulation of inputs that produces the expected output, it does have its issues, even compared to conventional language, which is a minefield of ambiguity, subtext, and misunderstanding. If the code works, there should be no misunderstanding as to its intent, and it could be replicated repeatedly and cost-effectively for similar transactions. However, that doesn't mean there won't be mistakes. Take the flash crash of the New York Stock Exchange in 2013, which was traced back to a mistake in the code used for the trading. A Canadian digital currency exchange, Quadrax, recently reported that a malfunction in a smart contract was responsible for a $14 million loss of the cryptocurrency Ether. A software upgrade performed by the company had an error in the code that prevented the smart contract from properly processing incoming amounts of the virtual currency Ether. The error was not caught for a few days, and during that time, Ether sent to the company's exchange was trapped in the smart contract. It may go without saying, but the risk of currency becoming trapped inside a computer contract and therefore rendered unusable, even though it technically remains in the possession of its owner, is not a risk traditionally associated with commercial transactions. As the Quadrax situation illustrates, smart contracts introduce novel risks that may increase exposure to financial losses. Where there are unintended consequences, there is liability. But who bears the risk of such unintended consequences is an open question. Many lawyers would also suggest that sometimes deliberate ambiguity and the ability to qualify a contractual requirement can be vital weapons in a draftsperson's armory. The use of smart contracts will continue to grow as government and industry develop ways to use them to improve historically slow, centralized, and opaque processes. But they are prone to error, hacking, and fraud. Lawyers, regulators, and other market participants will need to understand how smart contracts work as the technology becomes more and more popular. The open question is no longer whether they will become ubiquitous, but whether and when they can be programmed to execute even more complex tasks on blockchain platforms. The implications of that development for both global government and businesses would be revolutionary. Thanks for listening.